Okay, everybody, we're back with a brand new Cabral Concept. Today, we're going to be talking about why you may still have low iron levels, even if your ferritin levels are normal. So if you're into the functional medicine-based world, or you want to look more into integrative health, and you're trying to figure out why you might have anemia-based symptoms, those are the low energy, sometimes low or pallor, it's called in the skin, so pale-based skin, no matter what your skin tone may be, low appetite, poor growth rate in children, low thyroid-based symptoms, so weak growth of your hair, skin, nails, dry skin, thinning hair on the scalp, bruising. So there's a lot of different symptoms that go along with anemia. So typically what's run is sometimes it's just your total iron binding capacity, your TIBC. That's standard blood work. That's just the basics. It's not that great to just run that, but a lot of conventional medicine doctors, that's all they run. Now, when you get more into functional medicine, integrative health, you want to run your ferritin levels, which is absolutely something you should do. However, there are people that I've seen in my practice and overseen my team where someone can have normal ferritin levels yet still have low iron. And that confuses a lot of practitioners, doctors alike. Let's go through today why exactly that would happen so you'll have the answers and you'll be able to know what to look for in the future. All right, so here's the best tip I can give you right away is whenever you run an iron panel, and I have a whole podcast on this, so I'm gonna link it up. If you just go to stevencabral.com/3504, this can be the next show that you listen to. So it's going to be going over how to order a true iron-based lab test. And so it's simple to do. I do it with my oldest daughter all the time because somewhat like my wife, they can run a little bit lower in iron. So we just always make sure their iron stores are topped off, that they look good. So here's what to run. You're going to look at your ferritin levels. I'm just going to give you the basics. And what does ferritin mean? Let's go through them. Ferritin is the best number to look at. It really is, because it shows essentially protein storage. It's showing you iron storage. So the protein storage form of iron. And you want to think about this. I'm going to give you some analogies. Think of that as your bank, right? So that's what's holding onto your stores. You eat iron, you take it as a supplement, whatever works for you. You can get it plant-based, meat-based supplementation. But you're taking it in, and we all need some iron. And on the last show, I talk about kind of who needs more, but you want to store it. And ferritin is your storage number. All right, so that's kind of what's stored in the bank. The next is serum iron. Okay, that's what's actually in the blood. This is circulating iron that's moving around. It's available to spend right now. It's not in the bank. You're kind of carrying it around in your wallet. You're able to spend it. That's your serum iron. All right, the next is transferrin or total iron binding capacity. This right here is what carries the iron around in the blood. All right, so this is what's moving it around, able to be used. Okay, because iron is used obviously for so many different things, but the biggest one we think about is oxygenation of our red blood cells. So we have the energy, right, and metabolism that we need. The last one is the percentage saturation or iron saturation rate. It's a really big one. And this is how full the bus is, the car, the vehicle, that's moving total iron binding capacity, right? That's moving your iron around. So how full is that? That's your iron saturation. All right, so now let's look at it. So ferritin is your number one, okay? Here's how to look at it. If you still have all of the symptoms of low iron, and it shows in your CBC, your complete blood count, where MCV is off, MCHC, MCT, or HCT, if those start to become off, there still might be an issue. Now, could it be to B12, B6, folate, which is B9, calcium, magnesium, vitamin C, zinc, copper? Yes, it could be those, but especially if you're using the daily nutritional support, or you're using the activated B complex, or using the daily activated multivitamin, those are pretty much going to be taken care of for you. You might need to top off a little bit more, like daily nutritional support plus the activated B complex, but you really don't need more than that. That takes care of pretty much everything. Okay, so it still could be iron. The way to look at it is this, is that if your ferritin still looks good, but your serum iron or iron binding capacity, or even the percentage of saturation is low, it means there's locked in unusable iron. So yes, your ferritin is showing stored iron. It's there, but it's not being utilized. And I want to share with you right now why this can happen. All right, so normal ferritin, but low iron still. Here's what it means. Ferritin is an acute phase reactant. What does that mean? It means this, that your body might be dealing with some type of inflammation, gut or otherwise, heavy metals, infection, or liver issues. Okay. And again, I'm going to say this, but it doesn't mean that you have cancer. All right. It could be parasites. It could be heavy metals. It could be gut-based dysbiosis. It could be a virus. It could be something that your body is dealing with. One of those is cancer, because things like parasites and cancer cells love to use iron, right? It's a reactant. It's a fuel. Think of it like a fuel source for those things. They need iron. So what your body does in all of its brilliance is it uses something called hepcidin. I don't want to go too deep into this, but your liver actually sends a signal that we are not going to release any more iron. Because again, in all of its innate wisdom, it knows not to feed these pathogens. So if you have them, or an infection, your body can start to close the bank off. It basically just bolts up the doors. No more iron's coming out, only the iron that you're getting from food, right? Or supplementation. So in these specific cases, what do we do in our practice? We look at what's the underlying root cause? Is there liver-based inflammation from a high processed food diet, from a high oxidized fat-based diet? What that might be coming from. So we're looking at imbalanced blood sugar levels. We're looking at heavy metals. We're looking at gut health. We're looking at all the things. That's why we run the big 5 lab tests, right? That's what we do. But there's something essentially blocking iron from being used. So it's stored iron versus iron in use. And when you see the iron in use, those numbers are typically now low. Ferritin looks good. Some of the other numbers are low. This can still mean low usable iron. You have stored iron, but you're not able to use it. This is why it's important to run a full panel. And the full panel, which is the ferritin, the serum iron, the TIBC, transferrin, and the percentage of iron saturation, or just iron saturation rate, really gives you the whole picture. So this way, then you can start to look at, why is this hormone hepcidin being released? Well, again, the goal is always, let's peel back the onion. Let's find out what the underlying root cause is, not just give this person more and more iron, which truthfully could be backfiring because the body may not want to use it. Again, it's all of its wisdom because it's trying not to feed some other imbalances in the body, such as gut pathogens, heavy metals, cancer cells, and more. So that is exactly how we do it in our practice. Wanted to keep this simple, straightforward. And when you start to look into more functional medicine or integrative health-based labs, it's never any one single marker. As you heard about here today, we have a bunch of markers that look at for iron, and then you want to look at your CBC, complete blood count. And when you start to look at hemoglobin and other measures, and they might be too low or too high, you can start to say, okay, interesting. There is an issue either with B6, B9, B12, calcium, magnesium, zinc, copper, or iron. Now, it sounds like a lot of things, but it's really not. It's like, okay, process of elimination. We can look at these 9 items or so, and one of those is going to be my answer. And when you look at that, it's a brilliant way of being able to discern what your body needs. Nope, not somebody else's, but exactly what your body needs. So I'll be teaching a lot more of this in the future. Definitely stay tuned. And of course, do share the show with anyone you believe it could help. Take care, everybody. Head on over to stevencabral.com/3504 for more podcasts on iron. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything. Functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.